Just shy of 4 years ago, Mazda MX-5 fans suffered the loss of one of the fathers of the affordable roadster. Shunji Tanaka, rest in peace, was an incredible designer, not only of automobiles, but of motorcycles too. But today, we lament over the loss of the other father and visionary for the MX-5. Tom Matano has left us at the early age of 77. Tsutomu Matano died just days before his 78th birthday. He's been tied to American Mazda and art schools in California during most of his lifetime. In his early years, Matano was kicked out of engineering school in Tokyo. And being a poor college kid, he didn't have any money to get to the United States, but he lucked out. His uncle had a freighter. He bummed a ride off of his uncle's freighter. He first landed in Seattle, made his way down. I mean, he had no money unless his uncle spotted him. Maybe he even hitchhiked down from Seattle to LA, where he signed up for the Art Center of Design in LA. In the early 80s, he actually worked for General Motors and BMW. Matano then joined Mazda in the late 80s to design what would become the best-selling roadster or sports car in history. He was in design for 28 years, but the MX-5 is definitely his crown jewel, and he also designed things like the RX-7. But it started actually in 1976. He helped design the Oldsmobile Cutlass. He also had a hand in the 1970 era Holden Toronto. He was involved with the Mazda Tribute, and from 89 to 99, the first two generations of MX-5 combined to outsell the 18 years that the British MGB sports car was available from 62 to 80. What a surreal feeling that had to have been, because Matano, growing up just a couple of years outside of World War II in Nagasaki, he really wanted to make the Japanese automakers to have a successful two-door coupe roadster to emulate the MGs, the Triumphs, the Alphas, etc., even Porsche. In 2020, Matano had a speech for the Academy of Art students in San Francisco. He said way back in 1970, when he was kicked out of engineering school, he wanted to go into design. He had never drawn anything. Isn't that wild? That latent talent that was inside of him. So he came to the States as a language school student, couldn't speak English. Then he came to California, got off the plane. So he didn't hitchhike. He took a plane down and he looked at the sky and he said, I have to make a convertible. And that's how it started. Inspiration at its finest right there. His first convertible was a rear-engine Fiat 850 Spider. So when Matano joined Mazda in 1983, there was an ongoing project that had been simmering. It wasn't really going anywhere. It was called the Lightweight Sports Project. And he and Mazda were obsessed with the idea of featuring a timeless design with fun performance, good fuel economy, exquisite handling. But unlike the European roadsters that preceded it, it needed to be reliable with Japanese build quality. And they nailed that. And when the MX-5 arrived in 1989, it had no competition. The segment was dead. Look what they did. They revived the segment, and still they are the king of that segment. Many have come and gone. The Solstice, the Vibe. MG and Triumph have already been in the grave at that point by more than a decade. And upon doing my research for the video, Mazda was actually juggling 3 different ideas for the MX-5. Front engine, front wheel drive. Yeah, that's not exciting. I mean, just go buy a Honda at that point. Front engine, rear wheel. I'm not saying Hondas aren't exciting, but they were also considering front engine, rear wheel drive. Okay, that's obviously what they went with. And they're also considering mid-engine rear wheel drive. Wow, what world will we be living in if the Mazda Miata came out as a front wheel drive car? It would be dead. It wouldn't have survived. What if it came out as a mid-engine rear wheel drive car? Who the heck knows what it could have evolved into, right? That is just mind-blowing. Matano said the car's styling should be free of gimmicky surfaces and be totally cohesive from overall proportion to the minute detail, both inside and out. By a quick glance, one should communicate what it has been designed for, proportion, stance, attitude, movement, tension, center of gravity, details, and a choice of materials and finishes. So he wanted the MX-5's appearance to mimic this feeling of a boy meets girl or a girl meets boy kind of moment. How many times have you heard that this car is a girl's car from maybe guys that aren't so sure of their masculinity or have toxic masculinity? They don't understand this car. Maybe they haven't driven it. That's where most of the ignorance comes from. But how funny that you could call it a girl car because it's supposed to capture that moment when a girl meets a boy and vice versa. So Matano retired from Mazda in 2002, and at that time he had become Mazda's executive vice president of Western operations for Mazda Research and Development in North America. And then he went on to join the Academy of Art School of Industrial Design, and he was still there as executive director until the day he died. And Tom Matano, along with Shunji Tanaka, rest in peace. Without you, the car industry would definitely not be the same. And the MX-5, which has brought endless smiles, grins, giddiness, joy, and fun to owners and even to people who've just briefly driven the MX-5, Tom Matano, Shunji Tanaka, rest in peace. Thank you so much for your work. Continue to bless the Japanese auto industry from above so that we can continue to have special, timeless, fun-to-drive cars for many years to come. Thank you for watching. And if you want to see my driving impressions with the 2025 MX-5 Miata and how it just dismantled the Mini convertible that I compared it against just about a month ago, go and watch that video. I think you guys, obviously, if you made it this far, you've either watched it already or you would be interested in watching it. Have a great day, guys. Rest in peace, Tom Matano.